Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat,
shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone who's live on stream today. Thank you so much for coming. Greatly appreciate your attendance. Um, Today we're going to be talking about our Torah portion called Selach. Shelach. But we're going to be waiting for others to come in, so just bear with me, and we'll begin starting in just a moment. What's up, Bruce?
Not much. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing
Yeah.
well.
Just had the little girl out to the park for a bit.
You got a what?
Just had my little girl out to the park for a bit. Now we're here. Just finished eating dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, I cooked some chicken last night, and I used the juice and stuff to pour over the rice and stuff. Oh
Oh,
man, it's ever flavorful.
okay. Being a good father. Thank you. That's awesome.
How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Can't complain. Well, I could, but it wouldn't do any good, right?
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, Williams family.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, yeah, those little lambs are coming in, so we'll be getting started here shortly. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom, Sister Eve.
Shabbat shalom, Achika, and everyone else. Oh,
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Bani, the B'nai of Evelyn, sons of Evelyn. Shabbat Shalom. All right, let me see here. Double check some things. Uh-huh. Okay. We'll be getting started in just a few more moments.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. All right, people coming in sharing. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Akoti Sharon.
Shabbat shalom.
Hallelujah. Lord of Yahweh. Hmm. There's coming in. All right. Shabbat Shalom, Kel.
Shabbat shalom.
Wherever you may be right now, and ask that you turn towards the east in obedience to the Most High Yah. While we go to Him and thank Him for this day, and address Him as our King, and show Him the respect that's due to His name. The mighty one of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, El Shaddai, known to the children of Israel as Yohe-Wahe. We come before you on this day, the Yom Shabbat, to give you thanks. to give you praise, and to acknowledge that you are our Elohim. We thank you for being patient with us. We thank you that you haven't forgotten about us. And we ask today that you would remind us of your power and your ability. We ask that you would teach us. Teach us what we need to know in order to be pleasing unto you as a people. We ask for your forgiveness, not only for ourselves, but for our ancestors who have disrespected you and have thought very little about what you have done for them. Forgive our transgressions and our sins and our rebellion as a people. Forgive us, Yahweh, for not knowing the things that we should know, and for the mistakes that we have made unintentionally. We give you praise before all those who are in the heavens and upon all that is upon the earth. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise be to the mighty Yahweh. Whew. You know, this week was
She wanted to wave to you.
oh, hi, sweetheart. Katana. That means little one. Katana Yolda. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. So yeah, this week was a very difficult week to think about and to study. You know, it's like what they would call being on a repeat. I know that we feel like we're going in circles, which we are. The Most High had the children of Israel go in the circles for 40 years because they just couldn't get it. The first 2 years of their journey leaving Egypt was full of difficulty. And it finally ended up to where the children of Israel were decreed to die in the wilderness because of their inability to acknowledge the power and the might of the Most High and His holiness. And they didn't want to learn. They wanted to stay the same. They didn't want to learn. They wanted to, go as business as usual. They thought that they were delivered for their own purpose, to live their lives the way that they saw fit. They didn't quite understand what the purpose was, for them coming out of that place of hardship and difficulty and slavery and oppression. The Most High has told us on several occasions that He wants to bring us to a land that He promised our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And because of this, it requires for us to consider what it is that He's asking from us. And we have to do that carefully. We have to give careful consideration to what has been spoken by the King of the universe, the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything that's therein. And we have failed as a people. We have failed. Our ancestors failed the Most High. Their children failed the Most High, the first generation, second generation, all the other generations that came after. We've been failing the Most High. And it's reprehensible, it's disgusting, and it is very troublesome, because you would ask yourself, why don't they get it? Why don't they understand? What is it that they don't understand about what they've seen with their eyes and the experiences that they had? You and I, we've been reading it. We know there's historical data that points to the fact that Yah has chosen these people, which happen to be you and I. We're the people of the book. We're the Am Sefer. We're the people of the book. We're the people that everyone else knows about what's going on with us except for ourselves. So let's get into our lesson today, and let's ask ourselves some real questions about what it is that we need to understand about the Torah portion. Your Torah is the most important thing that you're ever going to do in your life. It's more important about, how much wealth we have. It's more important about, what are the decisions that we make in our lives. It's even more important than who you're going to marry, who you're going to be with. It's just that important. it should be the priority, you know, of the life of the person who wants to know, right? So let me go ahead right quick and share my screen. I want to do something right quick. Let me see. Hallelujah. Share my screen with you. Okay. All right, good. Can you see my screen
Yes,
or no? Oh, you can. Okay, it says loading, right?
right.
All right, cool. Um, I wonder why it takes so long to load. It might be the type of program it is. I don't know. I try to do some new graphics. Hopefully that doesn't bother us today, because that would be quite disappointing. Um, wow, okay, it's tripping. Let's try it again. All right, get rid of that. Oh, come on. Don't fail me. Well, you think you're doing everything right and you get technology and you're hoping that it behave, and then when it needs to behave, it doesn't behave. I don't know, maybe because I got all the bells and whistles. I don't know. Now, can you see it?
No,
You can't see it yet?
no.
Are you
No?
sharing your screen?
Yeah, let me see. It just said it was.
It just said that you're broadcasting now, but
Okay, let's see. Let me get it. Let's go.
There it is.
Okay, come on. Really don't need this today. For real. It's been acting weird, but really hate when it does that. Let me get rid of myself off the video. There you go. Now can you see it?
Yeah.
All
Are you
right,
gonna
good.
are you gonna record?
It's recording right now.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're in the wilderness, right? So put yourself in the wilderness. Try to really understand what's going on inside of the wilderness in the place of what we call order, where the Most High is given his word. This week is called Shelach, okay? And Shelach basically means to send. Very simple. It was a command that the Most High gave to Moshe to say, "Hey, I need you to send the leaders from the tribes to go and look at the land." Okay, there was a reason for this. I want to share that reason with you. Okay, the 12 representatives were from the 12 tribes of Israel, and they were there to go and tour the land, basically to go on a discovery tour to find out what the land was like. Why would the Most High want them to see the land for themselves? I believe it was to test them to find out whether or not they were going to trust him and to come back and tell the truth. They did come back and share information about the land, which was accurate, which was true about, the inhabitants of the land. Moshe instructed them, I want you to see who's in the land. I want to see if the land is weak or if it's strong. Is it productive or is it unproductive? Are the people weak or are they strong? Are there encampments or what's going on? So he sends them on this discovery and he wants to find out, what the land is like, right? The Most High knows what the land is like. Okay. The Most High has already told Moshe what the land is like. He's already shared it with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were familiar with the land. They were. But he wanted to test them. He wanted to find out whether or not, they were going to, trust him. That's basically what it is. And so, that was part of it. Also, too, there was a decree that was given in chapter number 14, discoveries in 13, decrees in 14, which deals with the 40 years that was decreed against the males who were over the age of 20 and up, who had been counted in the census to go and participate in, the service unto the Most High. So he decreed that they would, that they would die, and that their descendants will actually spend the next 40 years in the desert like shepherds walking around. Okay. Not aimlessly, but with intention to help continue to train them. Okay. There was 40 years, which is a day or a year, excuse me, for every day that they went to go and look at the land. It took them 40 days to do this. Chapter number 15 deals with the duty and responsibilities that have to do with the offerings, which we're not going to cover today, but it also mentioned the zizot, which you would call your tzitzits, and the purpose for that. I'm going to use another study for that later because there's so much information that could be found in the discovery of a couple of representatives from the tribes of Israel and also the decree. So I might talk a little bit about Zitzot, maybe, but I'm not going to go into a deep dive on it. Okay, so discovery, decree, and duty is what we're talking about for Shelach. There's some characters that are mentioned in your Torah portion and in the Haftarah that we should always consider, and that you want to look at when you're reading your Torah portions. You want to be able to look and find out what is the character, meaning the names of the individuals that are being mentioned by name. Of course, there's others that were mentioned, but these are sticking out a little bit more than others, right? So we have each one of these individuals coming from a tribe or a certain type of people, right? And so, Yehoshua ben Nun, that is the first person we're going to be talking about. You would know him as Joshua or Hoshea, but his name was actually changed. And then we also have Caleb, ben Yufune, right? These names, ben mean sons of, and we're going to go over that, which is from the tribe of Judah. And then Rakav, of course, she's a prostitute, and she is from the city of Jericho. She's one of the nations that are going to be conquered. And of course, we're going to be dealing with Israel as a people, our ancestors, the first generation that more or less is the one who got the decree that they were going to die in the wilderness. And that's because they asked for it. So they got exactly what they asked for. And then, of course, one of the words that I want to teach you today is called anaknu, which has to do with we. It's called anaknu, like and then knock and then nu. Anaknu. Anaknu means descendants or we, right? So we're the descendants of our ancestors. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into too much detail about Anaknu, but as you know, as being exiles, we are the people that have to pay attention to what was been written for us. Everything has been laid out for us so we can look at it and find out what we need to do so we can change the situation that's going on with ourselves and our families. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is the promise. This was a cryptic message that was mentioned in your Torah portion where the Most High was beginning to tell Moses that, hey, I want to destroy the people because they're always tempting me, they're testing me, and I'm gonna get rid of them. And Moshe begs the Most High, literally pleads with him, don't destroy them, because if you do, the nations are going to say this and that and the other. But he says that, yeah, I'll forgive the people, but however, they put it as I live. He says, I live, not as I live, I live. And the whole earth is filled with the glory of Yahweh, meaning that the whole earth is going to be filled with the glory of Yahweh in connection to his forgiveness and in connection to him not actually judging the people at that time. So what do you mean, Akika? What I mean is that the Most High is giving a promise to to Moshe, letting him know that, yeah, I'll forgive the people right now, but as I live, or I live, and because I live, the whole earth is going to be filled with the glory of Yahweh. The whole earth right now has not seen the glory of Yahweh, and the earth is going to see it. There's a scripture that talks about that. I didn't put it in our slides, but it says that the whole world is going to see his glory. Also, I mentioned it before in the book of Isaiah that talks about how the seraphim are saying, hey, the whole earth is going to be filled with your glory. So they're pronouncing or making a proclamation about what is to come, right? So what's going to come. So he's reminding Moshe that, hey, my my glory is going to fill the earth. And what he means by this is that the children of Israel have disrespected the Most High, and what should have happened is them to be completely wiped out. That's what should have happened. Moshe is interceding and being a mediator for the people, and he's just asking Yah to remember what he has said earlier about not destroying the people, because this is not the first time that the Most High wanted to wipe Israel out, right? It's just like a culmination of all the disrespect and all the faithless acts that they've done, all the treachery, all the prostitutions that they've been doing. And, we're reading it in hindsight and we're looking at it going like, well, we don't really see the prostitutions. But the Most High looks at it as prostitution, the way that they behave. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But this is the promise that the whole world is going to be filled with the glory of Yahweh. Whether or not we understand, what that really means, like, what it's going to be, it's going to be fire. We know that. We know that it's going to be, a correction. It's going to be a correction for the whole earth. And so the Most High's plan is to ultimately is to fill the whole entire world with his glory. So I want you to remember that, okay, that he lives and that the world will be filled with his glory in the time to come. Here's a quick royal reminder for all of us as the people of the Most High, or those who desire to walk with the Most High. Yahweh says that he will reject all who stray from your laws. This is what David said about what the Most High had let him know, that you reject all who stray from your laws. For what they deceive themselves with is false. And what this is, everyone, is a really quick reminder about what's going to happen to us if you and I fall away from the laws, the statutes, the commandments of the Most High, or the instructions of the Most High. When you and I are living a life of, being with the Most High and trying to understand what our purpose is on this earth, we have to first understand that we're a royal people. The Most High is a king, and you are his people. And if you're his people, you're going to have a royal mentality. Within that word remind, okay, is the word mind. Okay, so reminder, remembrance, and it has to do with the mind, bringing back to your attention. So he's letting us know if you and I reject his laws, right? Or excuse me, he's going to reject those who stray away from his laws. That's just what it is. Just like the individuals who died in the wilderness in your Torah portion this week, they're going to, they've been rejected from the Most High. So there's this idea that we learn from the, Christianity, that the Most High is, he's loving, he's forgiving. There's another side that you need to understand. So if you and I are crossing the line with him, and you're thinking that, you could do this or you can do that, and you can, disrespect him on different occasions, and there's no consequences, you and I have really failed to understand who we're dealing with. Okay. So he's going to reject everyone who goes away from his laws. And the individuals that are straying away from his laws, they're doing this not on an accident. He's not rejecting those who accidentally strayed away from the law, because we do make mistakes, as you saw in your Torah portion this week. There's individuals who do things and they just are not, they're unaware of it. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and get into the detail when we get into later in the lesson about an individual who did something intentionally versus unintentionally. Okay. So this is not talking about, individuals who have made a mistake. This is literally talking about someone who has done this on purpose and has actively decided to do what they want to do and go against the Most High by doing that which is false. That which is false is saying that anything outside of the Torah, anything outside of God's laws are perverted. And I know we have a difficult time with that because we're being taught by the people around us. We've been raised through the school system. We've been raised through, high school, college, all these different institutions. And our parents have been raised, and society has literally raised us and taught us the things on, how they see things. But the Most High himself looks at it differently. And for us as a people, right, and the royal people that we are, we can get caught up in what's going on around us. And we're thinking that is true. But the fact of the matter is that it's really false. So he's letting us know anything outside of Yah's laws are false. I hope you are hearing what he's saying. This is false. Anything outside of the Torah is false. Okay. Um, Chapter number 13, Moshe is going to, change the name of Yehoshua, right? Or Hoshua. He's going to change his name to Yehoshua. And so we found in our Torah portion this week this idea about transformation. Okay. And so transformation happens when your name is changed. There has to be a change of behavior, attitude, or whatnot. Prior to this, Yehoshua was just a young man who was an assistant to Moshe. He was intrigued by what he was learning and understanding. He went up on the mountain with Moshe at one point. He's been, his right by his side the whole time. And so now that they're about to go into the land, Moshe takes it upon himself as he is instructed to call upon the individuals from each one of these tribes. And he calls this young man Hoshea. And then he changes his name. And so your name is your character, is the life of you. And so anytime someone's name is changed, then there's a transformation that's going to happen, right? So transformation was found in our Torah portion. I'm going to give you a profile of Yehoshua ben Nun, okay? Of course, you should know he's from the tribe of Ephraim, meaning to be fruitful, right? The idea of Ephraim, the name means to be fruitful, and it comes from the idea of a bull, okay? Within the word Ephraim, and certain letters here kind of let us know that, hey, this is the bull, or this is this, or this is the fruitfulness. So right here, this part right here is a bull, okay? Okay. This part right here, the afra, here is the fruit, to be fruitful. Okay. And then the last part, the im right here, is the abundance. Okay. So in this in particular tribe, they are a very fruitful tribe. This is the tribe that the Most High is looking for to be very fruitful. Out of all the 12 tribes, this is one of the tribes that did really well in the wilderness. Okay. And it probably had a lot to do with who was connected to this and who was the leader of this tribe, right? And some of the things that they were looking at. But the idea of being fruitful is that the bull would crush the grain, and when he crushed the grain, all the fruit that was brought into the treading where they would tread the grain, then the head of the grain would come out, which is the fruit of it, and it'd be so abundant. This is where this comes from. There is a scripture that talks about how Ephraim is a bull and how they're going to, move their horns throughout the world to the left and to the right. They're going to make room for themselves. So the Ephraim is known as a bull. Okay, is known as a bull. I wanted you to know that. The word bane here, you would see it as bin, but it's really called bane. Okay, the E that you hear right there is like an A sound, so it's bane. Bane means son in Hebrew, and it means the stone. Okay, and a stone generally was used for building. They would build houses with stones. They would build altars with stones. So when you hear about, Yehoshua ben Nun, it's really talking about a stone. It's talking about building. He's a son, because sons are used to build the family, right? That's what it's used for. That's what they're used for, is to build the family. And so this in particular young man was being used to build the house of Ephraim. He is actually the one who was able to continue, his family line, and to, do the things that the Most High wanted him to do. As spoken before, he is an assistant of Moshe. He became a leader. And of course, he ultimately ended up becoming a commander of the people of Israel. His name actually means Yah's salvation. That's what his name means. So when Moshe took his name, he added this Yah sound here, which comes from Yah. He added that, and that Yahweh means he, right? And then Hoshua means to save. So he's the son of the house who builds, and then the Nun right here deals with the idea of a sprout. Okay. His father's name was, excuse me, I'm missing something there. I think I'm missing an F right here. Forgive me for that. The father's name is Nun. That was the name of his father, which you see right here. And the Nun in Hebrew represents the idea of a seed or a sprout. And the sprout is continuing the life cycle. So he's really about continuing the generation from generation. So we can see the reason why Moshe ends up changing his name and changing his character. So changing his character meant that he had to change the way that he was doing things. It meant there were some other challenges that he was going to have to face. It meant that he now is going to have to take on another role and responsibility. Just like when the Most High changed Jacob's name from Jacob to Yisrael, it actually meant that things had to change. There was different responsibilities. There was a different call. There was a different cause that has to happen in his life. Abraham, his name was changed. Changing of his character, a transformation of who he is and who he wants to be versus what the Most High intended him to be. Sarah, her name was changed. From Sarah to Sarah, her name was changed. And so we're seeing these different name changes, right? And so there's a lot of transformation that is going on inside of the family of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, and it's also going to happen in our lives. And I always encourage us as a people to find a way. I changed my name. I changed my name to Akika, right? I changed that because that was the role and responsibility that I wanted to take on. That's why I named myself Akika. Ak is brother, and Aki is my brother, and then Akika is I'm your brother. So I changed my name to that. I would highly recommend that you find a name that resonates with you or an idea that resonates with you and, change your name. And that'll change your course of action. That'll change how you look at life. It'll give you more purpose, right? So that's what his profile is, and that's what his name means, just to break it out for us, right? And then as we continue, we'll find out why it was important for his name to be changed, the transformation, okay? He was given a royal command, okay? The royal command here, remember we had a royal reminder, but now we're talking about a royal command. The royal command that was given to Yehoshua was only be strong and very bold and taking care to follow all the Torah, which Moshe, my servant, ordered you to follow and do not turn from it to the right or to the left, then you will succeed wherever you go. That's found in the book of Yehoshua, which is Joshua, chapter number 1. Your Haftarah was in chapter number 2. But often I recommend if we have like chapter number 2 or 3 or 4, then you should always start at the beginning so you can get more context. You can really find out what's going on. So this was the Most High speaking to Yehoshua after the death of Moshe. He said, my servant Moshe is dead, right? So I need you to focus. And I want you to be strong and I want you to be bold because the transformation process is going to require for you to do this. And the strength and the boldness that he was asking him to do is to make sure that he would follow the Torah. So when we read something about these characters, you need to find out what it is that the Most High is telling you through their life. We're not just supposed to look at it as biblical stories about, the things that he conquered of the kings or 31 kings he destroyed and so forth and so on. We actually supposed to look at, well, what did the Most High say? Because the Most High is not a respecter of persons. The same Torah that was given to Yehoshua is the same Torah that was given to you and I, the same Torah that was given to him and to the rest of the children of Israel that were in the wilderness, all the millions of them that they were there throughout their lifetimes, was the same Torah that you and I are getting right now. Because the Most High is saying that the Torah doesn't change. But in order to keep the Torah, you and I got to be strong and we got to be bold. That's the only way that you and I can guard this. When it talks about taking care to follow, it means that you got to guard it. We got to guard what the Most High has given and commanded us to follow. That's the thing. That's the royal command. So if we're going to pick up anything that the Most High is laying down, this is one of the things that you should pick up today, is that you can't turn from it to the right or to the left. You can't add to what the Most High says. I can't either. We can't do this. When we do that, we're losing focus. Okay? The Most High is telling us that if you do what I'm telling you to do, this is the only thing that's going to cause you to be strong. When you guard what I said, that's what you and I are supposed to look at. See? So if we're going to be the people that he wants us to be, if we're going to have any success in our life, real success, I'm not talking about the words that we get from the people that oppress us. I'm talking about from the Elohim of the heavens. He's giving us the secret ingredient, what we need to do in order to be strong, in order to be bold. We have to take care of the Torah. We have to give some focus and some attention to it. Okay. Another royal command is to think. It's not just to, you know, focus, but it's to think. To think about it. Think about what he's saying here. This is in Davarim chapter number 4. He said, in order to obey. See, we can focus and guard it, but what is it that you want to make sure that you do? You got to obey it. So in order to obey the commandments, which Yahweh, your Elohim, has given you, right? Which I'm giving you, do not add to what I'm saying. Do not subtract from it. Do not do any of this, because if you and I add to what he's saying, then number one, we're going to become not strong, and we're not going to be bold. We're going to be weak, and we're going to be passive. But also, too, if you and I will do what he says, in order to fulfill the obedience of the commandment, you and I should not add to it. That means to add any commentary upon what he said. Don't go beyond what he said. So this kind of puts us in check. Like, okay, well, if you and I really wanted to obey what he said, then you're not going to try to add upon what he said. That's the reason why he's telling us. You know, he said when you guys are scattered to all the nations, you start thinking about what's happened to you, you're going to turn around, you're going to listen to what I said. He didn't say you're going to do what I said. He said you're going to listen to what I said. This is the problem, is that we're not listening. And by not listening, we're not obeying. Here's an example when he says, don't add to what I said. Okay? He knows that we're in exile. He knows that, you know, some of us are forced to have to work on Shabbat. He knows that. But don't you add to what he said about the Shabbat and said that he's not going to kill you because you're in exile, or because he's merciful. And you try to add the mercy and the compassion to that. Meaning like, okay, I could do this. I could go against the Most High and there's nothing going to happen to me. Don't do that. Don't minimize what he said. So if he says that, you know, hey, on Pesach, you need to bring me this, this, and that, and we don't bring it to him, but yet we think we're fulfilling the law of Yah. That's not what he's asking of us. He's asking for us to focus on it and to think about it. And in order to obey it, don't add and don't subtract. That is the test. Don't diminish from what he said. If he said, I want 100 offerings, like he says on Sukkot, it's 100 offerings. If it's a ram, it's a ram. If it's a lamb, it's a lamb. If it's 7 of them, it's 7 of them. But no, what we're going to do is we're going to try to turn and change what he said in order for us to feel like we're being accepted by Yah. We want him to accept us on our terms. And that's the problem. You see? So the test is that you and I are not to disregard or disobey what he said by not adding to it, and don't subtract from it. Don't diminish from it. Keep it the way that it is. Don't change it. Okay? Don't compromise with it. Okay? So this is what I want us to understand. He wants us to think about this. He knows he sent us in exile. He knows that we're going to be worshiping other gods. He knows what the situation is. But that's the actual best test that you possibly can get. Because if you and I are showing him, well, we love him so much, we're going to do this anyway. He's saying you're doing what you want to do versus what I said. You guys, the Most High is literally telling us that it's all about what he said. It's about the details about what he said. Don't change nothing about it. Let it stand. Because it's his Torah, it's not ours. And because of that, we need to think about, right? We got that royal command, right? Now we got to think about this allegiance, which can be found in the statement that's made here in chapter number 14. My servant Caleb, because he had a different spirit with him and has fully followed me, him I will bring into the land he entered, and it will belong to his descendants. Okay? So you found that idea found in your Torah. It's about allegiance. Do you understand? Okay? So what do you mean, Akika, about this allegiance? Why is he saying a different spirit? in the English, of course, they give you their words, but I had to change this right here to a small s, because in Hebrew there are no capitals. They had a big old S to let you know that you're thinking it's the spirit. No, it's his spirit. He had a different type of spirit. When it talks about different right here, it's literally talking about a spirit that was, don't forget, yeah, I'm recording, thank you. What it's talking about is the idea of him being able to follow after the Most High, okay? We talked about it last week, okay? The spirit is a ruach. We talked about this last week, a ruach, okay? So the ruach is a different routine, a different pattern, a different pathway. This is what it's talking about. So the way he moved was different, okay? But also too, the word for ruach, they have another word that you can call right here. It's called a kar, okay? An aleph, and then the akar, and akarit, meaning it's a different, another type of spirit, okay? He says he's followed after me. This word akar also means to follow after, okay? So what it's literally saying is he moved differently. He moved very differently than everyone else around him. He moved differently than Yehoshua. They weren't twins. He was different, okay? He had a spirit in him that was consistently the same. It was his routine. This is the way he's always acted. And when it's talking about he had fully followed me, okay, it means something that I want to share with you, okay? It means that he was completely, listen to me, and this is important. He was completely, where did it go? He was completely satisfied. He was satisfied. He was completely satisfied with the Most High. When it talks about being fully followed me, he was satisfied with the Most High. He was satisfied. He was content. He wasn't full of Yahweh's spirit. He didn't have Yahweh's spirit. As we talked about last week, which that's the Most High's intention, is to give all of the people his spirit. He didn't give Caleb his spirit. So the question is do you need the spirit of Elohim or Yahweh in order to fully follow him? Like these people in the New Testament are telling you that the only way that you can fully follow him is if you have the Holy Spirit. This here is an example of a man who had his own spirit. Don't take away the power of choice. He chose to follow the Most High. He chose to be on a different type of path with the Most High. He chose to trust the Most High. He had an allegiance that he had wanted for himself. Look at his profile. You know, it's from the tribe of Yehuda, meaning praise, confession, and thanksgiving. He's a son, same thing, he's building his father's house. Okay. Meaning of his name is dog, ruff, he's a dog, right? Talked about him being loyal. His father's name is Euphune. Euphune means he turns. The yod there is he. Okay. Like Yehoshua, right? He saves. Here, Euphune, he turns. Fana or Fane means to face. He turns the face. So what are you talking about? Caleb was like a dog. Okay. He was in attack mode. He was very forceful when he was doing, and he had a sense of guardianship. So when he went into the land, he had a different mindset. Before he got there, when he was called to go do the research and to go do the discovery, he went there with an intention to find out what he needed to do in order to get the possession of this land. That's something that you and I need to take a look at. I'm sharing the profile of Yehoshua and Caleb because these are the two individuals that the Most High said, these are the two that are going to go into land. Everybody else that's over this age group is going to die except for these two. So literally, out of hundreds of thousands of men who were registered to be in the military service, these two are the only ones that survived. You see? Young man, leader, commander of the tribe of Yehuda, taking on that responsibility. So why is the Most High giving us these men? Why is he sharing their life with us and their character? He's sharing their character with us because we can learn from it. Yah want us to be like a dog when we're talking about dealing with him. Meaning that you have to be ferocious when it comes to going after the things that the Most High wants you to go after. When it comes to the Torah, you and I need to be like a dog. You need to be gnawing on it like a bone. Like King David said, he said, I meditate on it day and night. He's talking about I'm gnawing on the Torah all the time, day and night, like a bone. And if you try to take a bone away from a dog that's been gnawing on it, he'll bite your hand. He will go completely crazy on you. Okay? So this young man, was one who was very faithful and loyal to the Most High. And he's from the tribe of Judah. I don't know if you picked it up, but there's only two tribes. The two representatives that made it. It's the one who's from a fruitful place and who's going to be abundant, and the one who is like a bull who's going to do the work. And then, of course, here's the one who's full of praise and confession and thanksgiving. Okay? I want to tell you a little bit about him, a little bit more about this individual, this young man. Okay? Now, the word Caleb, even in the Hebrew right here, it talks about, that's his name, Caleb, okay? The K and then the Lav right here, the two letters left over, okay? It means like-mindedness. The like right here is this letter in the palm of the hand. When you look at something, be like, oh, this looks like a seed of this. This is like. They used this letter right here in the grammar to be like or as, okay? So he could be like a dog or as a dog, or, okay? But here, the Lav right here in Hebrew means mind, or you would know as your heart. So he has a heart like the Most High. He's like-minded. Okay? This is what was pleasing to the Most High, that he had a like-mindedness. That means that when it talked about it's time to attack, he was willing to do it. He had confidence in the Most High. He was forceful. He actually quieted the people, which I'm going to show you a slide on that. And he was willing to guard what the Most High said. Guardianship. On watch like a dog. Like-mindedness. Yahweh loves this about this young man. And he would love it too if you and I had some of the attributes of this young man, just like we would have of Yehoshua. We talked about how there was a royal reminder about what we should remember about the Most High, saying that David said, you will reject those who go away from your laws, right? You reject those. Then we got the royal command about being strong. Now we got a royal mindset here about what he did and what he was talking about, okay? So Caleb had a royal mindset. It said he silenced the people around Moshe and said, we ought to go up immediately and take possession of it. There is no question that we can conquer it. There's no question that we can conquer it. None whatsoever. What he's talking about is the ability. We have the ability to do something. We have it. It exists. When it talks about no question, that means that it exists. That means that there's nothing to discuss. There is no discussion. We can learn from this. When the Most High comes and he presents us with an opportunity, you and I are going to have to respond immediately. Because you have the ability to do so. So anytime you and I have it, we have the ability to do so, right? There's no question is an infinitive absolute, meaning it's something that always exists. You can conquer it. You do have the ability to do it. But it just depends on what type of mindset you have. You understand? So this mindset was one of confidence. That's a royal mindset. If we're going to move forward with the Most High, you and I can't do it if we're cowards. You shouldn't even open up the Torah portion if you don't have an intention to keep it. If you don't have an intention to guard what you're reading, and you don't have any intention of changing or being transformed, you don't have any intention of being on attack mode and guardianship, you should leave it alone. You're a coward. Just like the Most High tells the children of Israel, when you go to war, if there's anybody in the crowd that's afraid, send them home. You don't need no cowards. We need people who are going to be of a royal mindset, that is going to look at this with confidence and say, you know what, I'm going to stand on this. I know I have the ability. It's not being braggadocious. It's having confidence in who you are. It's not being arrogant. It's saying this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. You got to have some confidence in something in order for you to accomplish anything. You have to have confidence. And that's a royal mindset. Going back to what he talked about, I got it here in Hebrew. I want to focus on that word, wamale, meaning that he's fully convinced. He was fully convinced. He was satisfied. A royal mindset is one that's satisfied with what Yah has said. He didn't need nothing else, nothing extra. He knew that Yah was with him. And nobody had to tell him that. No one had to convince him of that. That came from within. When you and I become satisfied and we become content with what the Most High has given us, then that's when you can have the confidence. The reason why they didn't have any confidence and they didn't want to go to the land is because they weren't satisfied. They were not satisfied with what Yah was giving them. They weren't satisfied with the manna. You saw that last week. They were not satisfied with the meat. They were not satisfied with the water. They were not satisfied with the life that Yah had called them to. They're not satisfied with being trained. They're not satisfied with being taught. They're not satisfied with not having to work one day. They got to work all the time. Yahweh wasn't enough for them. But this man, he was full. After you finish eating, you're full, you're satisfied. There's no extra need for nothing else. I got what I need. I'm content. He was content with what the Most High has given him. And you and I can learn from that. We have to become satisfied. The royal mindset is one of courage, as you see here. Caleb expelled from there 3 descendants of Anak, Shishai, Achiman, and Talmai, children of Anak. This is found in Joshua chapter number 15. Do you not know these are the same individuals that those cowards came back of the other 10 tribes? Those cowards came back and said, these people are too strong for us. And they mentioned them. They mentioned Anak, Shishai, and Achiman, and Talmai. They mentioned all of them. These are the children. They're great. They're tall. They're big. They're strong. You cannot be with Yah. Listen. If you don't have a royal mindset. If you're not one who have courage and to approach every situation with courage and bravery, you might as well go home. I tell you right now, you should go back to Christianity. Christianity is for cowards because they need someone else to do the work for them. Christianity is full of cowards because they can't keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. They're full of cowards. But I'm not a coward. And if you want to be a coward, you should go be with them. If you don't want to have the mindset that you're willing to put anybody and everybody out because they're not following the Most High, then you're a coward. If you can't tell nobody when they ask you, well, why don't you eat pork? It's just, I'm allergic. Tell them what Yah said. That's your duty. That's your responsibility. I'm not telling you to go out there and start preaching to people and tell them, I don't eat pork, because no, if they ask you, you tell them. Why don't you work on this on Saturday? It's the Sabbath day. The creator of the heavens and earth wants us to rest and revive ourselves. Don't you want to participate in that? Don't you want that? Don't you want to refresh your mind? Don't you want to give yourself a break? Don't you want to honor that? Don't you know that the creator created all this beauty that you see? Don't you want to enjoy that? This is not for the weak. The royal mindset is for those who are inspiring. Having a royal mindset also includes to be someone to inspire others. Here it is in the same chapter, Joshua or Yehoshua, chapter number 15. Caleb said, whoever overpowers the Kiryat Sefer and captures it, I will give my daughter Aksha as his wife. So Onitael, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, captured it. So he gave him Aksha, his daughter, as his wife. He was willing to challenge in the situation where they were going to go and try to overpower something. So for him, he was consistently being the same person he was from the time he was in the wilderness. Even to when he got to the land, he still understood what the mission was. He didn't change up. His loyalty was long. It was all the way from the beginning to the end. Wasn't going to turn his head. He was going to do whatever he needed to do. He was going to attack. And sometimes we have to attack situations. You don't necessarily always have to attack people. You can attack a situation. How often do we sit and there's things that need to be done and we don't know what to do and we don't have the courage to do it. And so we just sit and don't do anything. If there's something wrong and there's something in your life that you don't want to be there, you need to attack it. If there's something that you need to go after while you have breath in your body, you need to attack it. Come up with a contingency plan. Attack. Go in and conquer. Go in and overpower. Stop working from a place of weakness. Don't be afraid of nothing because you belong to the Most High Yah. And you and I cannot be with him if we're going to be some cowards. So, inspire one another. That's what a royal mindset does. A royal mindset from Caleb that we get right here is one who is charitable. Here's another situation in the same chapter about this young man. Now he's getting older now. After becoming his wife, talking about Otniel, right? He gets his daughter. She persuaded him to ask her father, which is Caleb, to give them a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, what do you want? Not like, what do you want? He said, what do you want? She said, give me a blessing. Since you gave me the land in the Negev, he gave it to her, which is in the desert. Also, give me the sources of water. So guess what? So Caleb gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. A royal mindset is not only inspiring, it's not only one of courage, but it's also a charitable mindset. The Negev was where the children of Israel went, and when they went on their tour to go spy out the land, they went through that part of the land, and they came back and said, we can't do it. But you see right here that this man was about conquering. He was about overpowering those things that were going to cause him a problem. He was taking what Yahweh said in his hand, and he obtained it. And you and I can do the same. There should really be no difference between Caleb and you and I besides his name. His name is given to us for inspiration to tell us on what Yah is looking for. That's who you and I, if he says, my servant Caleb, this is who he's like. So if you want to be a servant of Yah, you're going to be one who's charitable. You have a royal mindset. You're going to go and try to overpower stuff. You're going to be on attack mode when you need to be. You're going to overpower. You're going to conquer. You're going to be a giver. That's what you're going to do. Now that we're getting into, we talked about our allegiance. Now we're going to talk about this acknowledgement. What you find in your Haftarah was about a woman. And this is what she said. This was a woman that we're going to discuss. Her name is Rakav. As soon as we heard it, our hearts failed us because of you. Everyone is in a state of depression. And she uses Yahweh's name. For Yahweh, your Elohim, he is Elohim in heaven above and on earth below. This prostitute, this harlot, heard a report about what Yahweh has done. She heard about the Red Sea. She heard about what happened in Mitzrayim. And this is 40 years later. And she's still thinking about what happened when she was told. She was waiting to know, like, one day these people go come in here and I just want to be ready. It took her 40 years. Yah knew that in 40 years after Israel was in the wilderness, for 40 years after him having to consistently train them over and over again, that there would be a harlot who decided that things needed to change for her. And she acknowledged what Yahweh is. She gave him glory and credit, and she said, Yahweh Elohim, he is Elohim. Not he's a God, he is the powers of all powers of heaven and in earth. Hear what she said. Stop looking at it from a religious standpoint. He's a God of heaven and earth. No, he is the powers. He's the powers of the wind, the powers of the sun, the powers of the stars, the powers of the planets, the powers of the storms, the powers. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. Every power that's on the earth is Yahweh. It comes from his hand. He has done it alone, and there's nobody with him. She acknowledged it. She had a sense of awareness about who Yahweh is. She knew the power of Yah without even experiencing it. She just heard about it. And now she's about to have an experience with the Most High. Her name is Rakav. She's a citizen of the city of Jericho, the place of the Goyim, meaning the nations and foreigners and strangers that had no experience with Yah. But she called him by his name, and she acknowledged that he's the Elohim of Elohims, and that was based on what she heard and not what she seen. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. So what is this prostitute, what is this whore going to tell us about our Elohim? What can you learn from a prostitute? Well, we can learn something. The whore said, I don't have to have seen it like you guys did. I heard about what he did. You understand? So you and I, who are in exile, who've never seen it with our own eyes, and we just heard about it. When you read about the Torah, you heard about it. You can be just like this whore. Well, you're talking about her like she's really bad. No, listen. She's a zona. Okay? And a zona is one who cuts off the seed. That's what she's a cutting device. Cutting off a seed means in her prostitution, when a man would go into her and he would plant seed in her, she would discard the seed. So she's not interested in producing and continuing life. She's in a cutting off life. But what does her name mean? Her name means to be wide. She gave herself to a whole bunch of different people. She expanded herself. She enlarged herself. She made herself spacious to everybody who was coming to her. And that's the way she lived her life. She was unfaithful. She wasn't faithful to one thing and one man and one person and one idea. And she was disloyal. She's just the opposite of Caleb. But you can learn from her. She's a daughter, which means in Hebrew, bat, which is the house in which the seed is put inside in order to build the family. She's part of the building process. Sons and daughters of the Most High. You see? But what did she do? She enlarged her understanding. When she had the opportunity and presented herself, she took advantage of the opportunity. She leveraged the opportunity when these spies came. She knew who they were. Her mindset is she dwelt in reality. It wasn't imaginary. Yahweh, my strength, my fortress, my refuge in time of trouble. The nations will come to you from the ends of the earth, saying our ancestors inherited nothing but lies, futile idols, completely useless. Talking about the nations. That's the reality. She's living in reality. The nations are going to live in reality. That everything that they have heard has been a lie. Every idol that has ever been made or carved or created or poured or molten or imaged or shaped or built has been nothing but useless. It hasn't worked for them. But Yahweh is the strength and he's the fortress. Our ancestors inherited nothing but lies. The nations will come to Yahweh from the ends of the earth, and they're going to say, hey, we ain't got nothing but lies. And I wonder what those lies could be. Oh, it could be the lies that you've been telling us about the New Testament. The lies that tell you that the Most High was pleased to bruise the righteous. The Most High was pleased to kill the innocent to let your wicked behind go free. That's a lie. How about another lie? That the innocent can die for the righteous and innocent can die for the wicked. That's a lie. That somebody named JC the Christ is the Son of God. That's a lie. That the New Testament can be added to the Old Testament. That's a lie. The name Old Testament, that's a lie. It's not an Old Testament. That's a lie. That God became a man, that's a lie. All of it, lies. You see? All of it. Eternal life that you're going to go to heaven, you're going to fly away and be like the angels is a damn lie. You and I need to have the mindset of living in reality because they are going to have to live in reality. Listen what this woman said. She said, I know that Yahweh has given you the land. The fear of you has fallen on all of us, right? On us. Everyone in the land is terrified at the thought of you. Just like Yahweh has said. She didn't even get the Torah, and she knows the land belongs to the children of Israel. She had an attitude, a mindset of what you would call certitude. She was certain that this was going to happen because of everything she heard. Eyewitnesses' account of what the Most High has done. The testimony that she heard from someone else was validated because the people of the book showed up in her house. Not some damn Mormons that showed up at your house and told you a whole bunch of lies. Two spies from Israel showed up, and she knew who they were. And she hid them. The king said, hey, where are they at? She said, they already left. So her mindset had changed. She's not interested in cutting off life no more. She wants to save life. We heard how Yahweh dried up the water in the sea of Suf ahead of you. Talking about the nation of Israel. When you left, not these two individuals, but the whole nation left Egypt. And you did, and what you did to the two kings of the Emrim on the other side of the Jordan, Sikon and Og, that you completely destroyed them. She had a mindset. I'm going to consider what I've been told about you guys. See? She considered. So, we see the royal mindset of the individuals who the Most High has called and knows who's going to continue their families and continue their tribes and continue their charitable gifts to their families and the ones who have courage. Now we have the mindset that's outside of Israel that they have enough sense to use consideration. They considered it. So what should you and I consider? Huh? We should consider the fact that you and I ended up in the place that Yahweh said you're going to end up in. He said, I'm going to send you to the nations. Are you in the nations? Yes. He said that I'm going to sell you to all these different people. Did he sell you? Yes. They're going to sell your sons and daughters. Yes. You're going to bereave them. Yes. I'm going to put sickness on you. Did that happen? Yes. I'm going to take your name away from you. Yes. Your culture. Yes. Your food. Yes. Your food you're going to eat are going to be defiled. Have you considered what he said? She did. She considered it. And the individuals who haven't obtained the royal mindset You just have a regular mindset, a regular behavior. You should use that to consider what the Most High has said. This woman had enough sense. This prostitute, the one who's frowned upon, had enough sense to leverage the situation. And she did it because she said, so please swear to me by Yahweh. Not the God of the New Testament, not JC, not Moses, not Abraham, nobody but Yohei. Since I have been kind to you, you will also be kind to my father's family. So look what this daughter's doing. She wants her father's family to be considered to be continued on. She wants them to continue. She wants them to be delivered. Salvation for her was in her hands, and so she leveraged the situation. Give me some evidence of your good faith that you will spare the lives of my father, mother, brothers, and sisters, and all who are theirs, so that they won't be killed, because they know that Yahweh's coming in and he's sending these people in here to wipe out everybody. But she leveraged the situation. So what should a person who doesn't have a royal mindset, that is just now finding out that, they are the children of Israel, or these are the people of the Most High Yah, you need to use this as an opportunity. If you get any type of introduction to someone who's Israel, you're listening live right now, you run into somebody to tell you that they're the children of Israel, you need to leverage that relationship to find a way to get yourself saved for you and your family by listening to what they have to say. That's what you need to do. The mindset also is one of preservation. What does she want? She told them, head for the hills so the pursuit party won't get their hands on you, and hide yourselves there for 3 days until the pursuers have returned. And after that, you can go on your way. Why is she trying to preserve them? Because their preservation of their lives meant the preservation of her life. If you're a goyim, or you're a nation, or you're a foreigner, or you're a stranger to the children of Israel, you better find a way to look out to preserve the life of an Israelite, because it very well could mean the preservation of your life and your family's life. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. Ability. And our Torah portion talks about ability, talks about allegiance. All these great things we're talking about. But here it's talking about ability. If you kill off this people at a single stroke, like if they're just one person, then the nations, the Goyim that have heard of your reputation will say that the reason Yahweh slaughtered this people in the desert is that he wasn't able to bring them into the land which he swore to give them. If you don't learn anything else about this Torah portion, this is what you need to learn. This has to do with Yahweh's ability. Everything about Yah is placed upon what he's able to do. Listen carefully. That word ability is called Yakol. Okay? But the men who had gone with him said, we can't attack those people. That means Yakol, meaning we don't have the ability, because they're stronger than we are, like I told you. And they spread a negative report about the land that they had reconnoitered for the people of Israel by saying, the land we passed through in order to spy it out is a land that devours its inhabitants. All the people saw it, that we saw there were giant. Okay. They brought back the fruit was evidence that the land is good. But they're saying that the land itself would devour the people. There are many people, when it talks about devouring, it means it's going to eat up the people, meaning the people there, which you're talking about the individuals that Caleb ended up eventually destroying. Okay. So their idea is that we don't have the ability. We don't have the Yakol. Unlike Caleb. Caleb said, let's go attack. They're like, no, we're not going to attack because they're stronger than we are. And what they did, it says, and they spread a negative report. Now listen to me carefully. When they said, we can't attack the people because they're stronger than we are, they said that exactly after Caleb said, yes, we can. Caleb said, we can attack, let's go right now. They retorted and said, no, we can't. So one individual said, we can, and a whole bunch of other individuals said, we can't. one against the rest of these people who went, 1 against 10. Okay. So 10 against 1 said we can't. The minority said we can. Okay. One said we have the ability, the other one said we don't. Now, here's the trippy part. It says, and they spread negative report. This idea of spreading a negative report, they didn't do that in front of them. They walked off after they said this, and then they went secretly to spread a negative report about the land. They went and started getting to people's ears after they had that conversation about we can't do it. So to ensure their position, in order to make sure that they didn't go into the land, they secretly went into the congregation and started talking and started spreading this lie about the land. Okay? That's what they did in secret. Okay? This is one of the reasons why the Most High said, I'm done with you. Okay? The Yakal from a Hebraic perspective means the one who is whole or complete and is able to perform something. We talked about it last week a little bit. Again, you see the same letters we've always been talking about, which are the Yod, the Kaf, and the Lamed. Okay? The first letter Yod is the hand, meaning he. His hand is power, right? So ability has to do with the hand. It has to do with power. The second letter is the Kaf, which has to do with the palm of the hand, right? Which has control. You control things with the palm of your hand. You control the staff with your hand. You can grab someone and control them and hold on to them, okay? To inspect, that means that you're looking at something, you're evaluating it, you're looking at it in the palm of your hand saying, oh, this is this and that's, and this is that type of seed. Oh, this is that blade of grass. Oh, this soil right here looks a little grainy, so it has, it's not as porous or whatnot. And then, of course, with the palm of the hand, you grasp things with it, right? And also, too, the palm of the hand is used to discipline and to chastise. I'm going to spank your behind, so I'm going to hit you with the back of my palm, okay? The third letter is the lament, the staff, meaning to lead, to discipline, to train, to teach, and often also it has to do with authority. So those are the ideas that are found in this word called Yakal, meaning to be able. It means to be able to prevail. Okay. So when you talk about your calling, it means that you have the power to prevail. And so what they're saying is that when Yah's with them, he doesn't have the ability. See, so they would put it on themselves instead of, he didn't ask them to go in and come back and tell the people what they couldn't do. He just told them to go and find out what's there. You see? So the bad report was, I'm going to tell you what I'm capable of doing, what my abilities are, versus what Yah's abilities are. He didn't send them in there to find out what they couldn't do. They didn't have the power to take themselves out of Egypt, and now they're going into this land, and you think all of a sudden I brought you out of oppression, and now I'm going to give you somewhere I don't have the ability to bring you in here? Because of the way you're thinking? Because of your mindset? Because you don't consider? Because you don't have a royal mindset? Because you lack courage? Because you're a coward, everyone else got to suffer. This is what Moshe was talking about. Remember, he said it. If you kill off all these people as one single stroke, the nations that have heard of your reputation, meaning your name and what you have done, will say that Yahweh slaughtered these people in the desert. It was that he wasn't able. So it's about what they're going to say about him, what they're going to say about his name, what they're going to say about his reputation. Because of these fools right here who say they don't have the ability to do what it says. We can't attack. Doesn't that sound like the people today? We can't do the laws. Doesn't it sound? We're not in the land. Doesn't it seem like that's the same attitude today? They're making up every excuse why they can't do what he said. Yes, Sharon.
It just got me thinking about how these people went quietly and secretly to sow doubt about y'all's people. And it is like today, it's like they're the people that go around saying, Yah can't save us. Like he can't do it. We can't keep the laws. Like they say we've got to find this other solution. You know,
Yes.
it's the same story. We still have people like that going around sowing doubt in Israel.
Yes, because they're the children of those who hate Yah. When he says, I'm going to do to the third and fourth generations those who hate me, I'm going to pay them back. He's talking about the same children that came from the parents. The parents felt the same way. After he killed his first generation, the second generation felt the same way. They just like, well, if we don't do it now, we're going to die here, so we might as well do it. They didn't want to do it. Yah tells them you guys don't want to do it. So I know that I'm spirited. I know I'm passionate. I need you to understand something. When you and I are saying that Yah doesn't have the ability to do what he said he's going to do, you're the one that he's going to destroy. You're the one who's going out to the wilderness to die. He's already telling you, you're going there to die. You understand? So when he calls the children of Israel and he takes us out of here, it's not going to be based on our own ability. It's going to be based on what he said according to his reputation. His name is on the line. His reputation is on the line. So when he's dealing with these nations, the ones who said, oh, we've inherited nothing but lies, you damn right you have inherited nothing but lies. Everything outside of Yahweh is deceit. Everything outside of the Torah is a lie. Yahweh's ability was put into question, and so was Yahweh's power. Please forgive the offense of this people according to the greatness of your grace, just as you have borne with this people from Egypt up until now. This has resonated and has reverberated through the centuries. He still is forgiving us. His grace is still going through time. So he doesn't have to destroy us. Yahweh is a forgiving Elohim. The word for power is koach. So now, please let my master's power be so great as when you said. Now he's referencing when Yahweh said in Exodus chapter number 34, verse number 6, Yahweh says this about himself. Moshe was like, the first time that Yahweh wanted to wipe everybody out for the golden calf, Moshe said, please forgive these people. He said, I'll forgive them, but their punishment's to come. Yahweh's put the punishment on hold. Why? Because Yahweh was slow to anger. Why did he destroy us? Yah? Because Yahweh is rich in grace. Why did he slaughter us? Because Yahweh is forgiving offenses and crimes. Yet not exonerating the guilty, but causing the negative effects of the parents' offenses to be experienced by the children even to the third and fourth generations. It's about Yahweh's power. It's not just his ability that's put in question, it's his power. So what Moshe is doing is he's going to Yahweh and he's trying to appease Yah. He's trying to placate Yah. He's trying to get Yah to look at it differently. He said, look, you've been so merciful from the time that these people came out of Egypt when you asked them to get rid of their gods, they wouldn't. And the time that they didn't listen to you, the time that they said what they said about the manna, the time that they provoked you, the time that they did this, the time they did this, they've been doing this stuff forever. Let your grace continue to go down through time. He wasn't asking it for just then. He was asking it because he knows what type of people he's dealing with. But you know what I found? When he says, when you said this, Yahweh, you've been merciful all the way from Egypt until now. Even up until now. He's saying, so please, master, let my master's power be as great as when you said, Yah's listen to me. The koach The power of Yah is not only in him taking us out of the land, his power of Yah is found in his name, and is found in his mercy, is found in his grace, and is found in his forgiveness. There's more power that is used for that. Removing us out of the land takes nothing from Yah. But the extreme power, the true power of Yah is found in his name and what it represents. And you got these bozos out here telling you that his name is changed, and his name is God, and his name is Christ, and his name is this, and his name is this, his name is Ahaya. His name is Yohei Wahe. That is what's found in his name. That's his power. His name is not just in him taking us out. His name is not just found in signs and wonders. Yes, Kale.
Yeah, David, just to comment on this verse right here, that says, yet not exonerating the guilty. That definitely doesn't sound like what JC preaches. So that further emphasizes that we are not serving the same Elohim.
Thank you. Our Elohim, our power is not the God of the Bible. We don't share the same God with the people that Constantine gave them Christianity. Your God is not Paul's God. Your God is not the God of the New Testament. It's even in the name, the New Testament. Yahweh's power, people, is found in his grace and his mercy and the ability that he has in not destroying us when we deserve it. That's where the power is at. There's more power there. That brings more glory to Yah than anything is by showing mercy. 2 letters, the Kaf and the Kate. The Koach, it means to correct or chastise with a firm hand. You see the chastisement with the Kaf, which is the palm of the hand. That's the chastise. That's to hit you in the back of your behind, to control you, to inspect you, to grasp you, take hold of you. You want Yah to take hold. You want him to snatch you up, and you want him to control you. You want the discipline of Yah. You want that firm hand on your behind. The second letter is the Kate, which is a wall, separation, meaning to be firm, to stand, to protection, to enclose. You want Yahweh to put that hand on your behind. So what he's asking Yah to do is, listen, your power is in your correction. Your power is in your correction. It's in your chastisement. Chastise them. Don't kill them, just chastise them. Let that same hand that went in Mizraim, in Egypt, that did your signs and wonders, and the greatness of that, let it be the greatness of who you are, to show the world how beautiful, how wonderful, and how able you are by chastising these people and bringing them back to you, so you can show that the name Israel really means what it says. It's he who prevails with Yah, and it's only going to happen through when Yah puts his hands on us. When he chastises us and pushes out the same hand that grabbed us and the same hand that took us from another land, it's the same hand that pushed us out of the land. It's the same hand that scattered us. And it's the same hand that's grabbing and taking hold of us right now. Because we need to be corrected. We need to be chastised. And that is Yahweh's mercy. And that's his grace. His grace and mercy is not hanging somebody on no damn cross. As a result of the discipline comes the decree. But your carcasses will fall in the desert. And your children will wander about in the desert for 40 years, bearing the consequences of your prosperity constitutions until the desert eats up your carcasses. Because they said, we're in this desert, it's going to eat us up. They proclaimed their own punishment. He said, well, I heard what you said. You're going to die out here now. You're going to die out here now. That's the decree. So what is the Most High telling us? If you think that you can say and do whatever you feel like and there's not going to be any consequences, you're going to be sadly mistaken. If you're not thinking about the future, if you're not thinking about your family like that whore was, then you're stupid. If you're not thinking like Caleb and Joshua, then you're dumb. And you deserve to die in the wilderness. Akika, why are you talking to us like this? It's tough talk. It's time to stop playing games. Because the bottom line is, if we don't do what he says, you and I are going to bear the consequences. If you want to be out in the wilderness when the Most High comes and gathers us, and you want to be out there with your family, those who are listening live by stream, and you want to sit there with a stupid look on your face like nobody told you what time it was and you didn't get the information. You're acting like, well, this whore who she just heard of what the Most High is doing. She changed. She had ability to make a decision. She saved her whole household because they followed the instructions. You better have that red scarlet thing that you let us down with, that better be hanging out the window. Everybody that you want to say better be in that house. Everybody. If they're not in that house, their blood is not on us, on themselves. That means that they have to do what they were told. They have to follow the instructions they were given so they can save their lives. And they had to believe what the woman was telling them. And she's her family member. She knows, and they heard that these people are coming. They just didn't know when. Now they're here. She got ahead of the game. And that's what you and I need to do if you care about your family. Quick profile on the children of Israel, which you already know. Yisrael has been identified as being Elohim. We are judges and we have powers when we're working with the Most High Yah. You are innumerable like the stars and the dust of the ground and the sand of the sea. Period. There will be no counting of you. The chosen people of the Most High Yah, and there's no one else. According to the book of Peter, he said they're chosen people. Then he was talking to Cappadocians and Pontus. Those people are not the chosen people. You and I are. And what does it mean to be Yisrael? It means to be Ivri, one from beyond. We're beyond somewhere. We came from somewhere else. You're set apart. You're kadosh. You are set apart for the Most High Yah because the Most High is set apart. His laws and statutes and commandments are set apart. They're not to be added to or subtracted from. And you are identified as being the son of Yahweh. Exodus chapter number 4, verse 22. Moshe, go tell Pharaoh to let my son send my son out. Send my son like Shilach. Send my son out. Not let him go. Send my son, Shelach, which you and I are reading today. Command my son. Send my son out. Why? So he can come out and do what? Worship me and serve me the way that I want him to serve me. That's the purpose of being sent. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. Yisrael is the one who prevails with El. You're going to prevail with El, the power of powers. You're going to prevail with the master and the king of the universe. Meaning that Yahweh is going to turn your head into the direction that he wants you to walk. And how do you do that? When he turns to El. Yah's not going to turn your head and break your neck. Yah is going to turn your head to help you to turn it so you don't break your neck. But you got to be willing to allow your head to be turned and stop being stiff-necked and let Yah redirect your course to turn your head towards him, to walk on the path that he's outlined. The power of the staff is who Yah is. He's the El, which you can see in those last two letters of your name. The turning is right here, Sar. The he turns right here, the power of his hand right there. He turns El. That's when you and I are going to prevail, when we're turning back to Yahweh. Then after you and I turn our heads to the Most High and we're walking on the path that he wants, then he'll allow you to go turn the heads of the nations towards him. Yisrael is a zona just like that whore in Joshua or Yehoshua chapter number 2. Just as unfaithful as she is. Just as disloyal to any man. And also very presumptuous. This is who we are. This is what we've become because we choose not to follow the Most High. This is the reason why he said to that generation, because of your prostitutions. What, your zona? What are you talking about cutting off the seed? Are they out there laying up with everybody? Probably. But let's go deeper. What is a zona? One who cuts off the seed. How do you cut off the seed? You cut off the seed because you're not teaching your children what the Most High said. You're going to end your generation just like the stupid people that were out there. David, you know, you keep calling these people stupid. You're using some very harsh language. Guess what? When you and I don't do what the Most High said, you're cutting off the future generation. You're not being like Yehoshua. You're not going to be fruitful. You're not going to be abundant. You're not going to bring the prosperity. You're not going to be like Caleb. You're not going to have nothing to give to your descendants because you were so bent on doing your own thing that you didn't even see the opportunity that's in front of you that's so easy by just doing what the Most High says. Because you have an attitude of provocation. You want to provoke the Most High. Yahweh said to Moshe, how much longer is this people going to treat me with contempt? Disrespect. How much longer will they not trust me or have confidence and know for sure that I am who I am, especially considering all the signs I performed among them? How long? What's it going to take? How long are you going to be presumptuous towards me? Moshe answered, why are you opposing what Yahweh said? This is after they got the verdict or the decree that you're going to stay out here. You're going to die out here. They got up, they cried that night. They got up and they were remorseful. And they said, you know what? Let's go now. We're going to go now. We're going to do it now. Let's go. And he asked the question, why are you opposing what Yahweh said? Why are you transgressing with the commandment of Yahweh? That word oppose there means to go across what the Most High said. And presumptuous means that you're going beyond the bounds that has been said or stated or been set by what Yahweh has said. Yahweh's laws, statutes, and commandments are boundaries. Some people look at them as restrictions. They're not restrictions. They're safeguards to protect you and I from going outside of the bounds that would cause us not to live. They will cut off our children and our children's children and our children's children's children because you don't want to listen. Because you always got to go beyond. You always got to boil over. You always got to go past what he said. You always got to cross the line. He says, don't go up there because Yahweh isn't with you. If you do, your enemies will defeat you. We are in exile because we were presumptuous. We went outside of the boundaries. We went past the wall that the Most High doesn't go past that wall. We went past the line in the sand. Don't cross this. Like the ocean, don't go past here. Don't go past. They don't go past, but you went past. Don't eat this. We ate it. Don't be with these people. We went with them. We party with them. Don't celebrate this. We go ahead and be with them because we want a relationship. And you're going to presume upon the Most High? You're going to be presumptuous. You're going to think that there's not going to be any consequences because this is the attitude that you have. You revile the Most High. You like to revile the Most High. You found in your Torah portion in chapter number 15, it says, but an individual who does something wrong intentionally, whether a citizen or foreigner, is blaspheming Yahweh, you revile Yahweh. That means that you taunt him. You're taunting him. You're speaking about him. You're insulting him because you don't like what he said. You don't like the rules. You don't like the regulations. You don't like the teaching. You want somebody to speak to you in a soft voice to placate you and to make sure that you feel comfortable. And that's the reason why you'll keep coming back. You'll sit up in a church for over 30 to 40 years because they're telling you what you want to hear. The person will be cut off from his people. That person will be cut off from his people. Why? Because they intentionally reviled the Most High. Because he has had contempt, disdain, and disrespect for the word of Yahweh and has disobeyed his command. That person will be cut off completely. His offense will remain with him. Here's the example, and I'm going to close with this. The example is in chapter number 15, where there was a man. While the people of Israel in the desert, they found a man gathering wood on Shabbat. That's your example. He gives you this text right here, and then he tells you about the man, letting you know that what this man did was intentional. It wasn't an accident. This man broke the Sabbath day. This man heard the word of Yahweh and said, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care. It's just some words that are spoken to a whole bunch of people in the congregation. Yeah, I see a cloud and I see fire. It doesn't mean anything to me. Yep, I walk right through the water. I've been being fed with manna every day for the last 2 years. See? So it doesn't matter. I'm going to do what I want to do. Now, let me be clear so I don't scare everybody and you start tripping and having nightmares and thinking that the Most High is going to kill you tonight. This man is different than a person who's made a mistake. Okay, let me make it clear to you. The individual who does something wrong intentionally, whether citizen or foreigner, is blaspheming Yahweh, that person will be cut off from his people because he has had contempt for the word of Yahweh. Okay. And has disobeyed his command. That person will be cut off completely. His offense will remain with him. And I gave you an example of an individual who does that. The individual who has done this idea of going against what the Most High said, whether a stranger or whether it be a foreigner or a citizen, these are individuals who have been taught the words of Yah. You ask yourself, how many Shabbats did I break? How many Shabbats have you broken prior to you knowing this? I broke them all my life. But it's the mercy of Yahweh that kept me from being destroyed. And it brought me to where I'm at right now, changed my course. Okay. If you make a mistake on the Shabbat, okay, and you did something that you didn't supposed to do, you're only doing that is because you've been used to doing that and you don't know, you haven't been taught. Okay. Going back to, I wasn't taught for 50 something years of my life. I wasn't taught. So I made all those mistakes too. I should have been the one who had been put to death as well. Not to say that the Most High says that I'm getting you off, that the grace of Yah will cover that. What he's saying is that you weren't taught. Once you become aware, some people have done some things that they're just unaware of. I can go back to the time where I made a mistake, right? And you would think, well, what's intentional versus unintentional? 1 year, I totally, I was in a pizza matzah, and I was hungry and I was out and I was working and whatnot. And I said, let me give me something. And I just slid over into McDonald's, got me a fish fillet. Ate the fish fillet, had the fries, parked the car. I was having a decent time. I was hungry and I wasn't thinking. And boom,
As soon as I finished the fish fillet, it popped in my mind that you just ate matzah. I mean, you ate chametz. You ate leavened bread, and you will be cut off from your people. That popped in my head, the scripture. And I said, oh my goodness, I just got to cut off from my people. And I prayed to the Most High and asked him to forgive me. And I didn't, and because I didn't do it intentionally. But I did do it. I was still guilty. But even in my guilt, I recognized that it was something I shouldn't have done. And I read it before. I read it. I knew that I wasn't supposed to eat it, but I did it on an accident. Okay. It doesn't mean that I'm not guilty. My point is that in this coming back to the Most High, you're going to have experiences that you are going to make an error and you're going to make a mistake and you're going to put your guard down. That's what happened to me. And ever since then, that was the example that I've been using for the last 10 years to make sure that I don't do that again, because I'm always thinking about what I did, right? But in this case of this person who's doing this on purpose, they were taught, and everyone around them, it was a community, and they said, I don't care about what the community's doing. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. That's different. This is not an exile situation here. This is a person who's in the presence of the Most High. When we're in exile, and I'm not changing Yah's law. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that you don't deserve the death penalty. What I'm saying is that the Most High is merciful. And you can ask him for his mercy, but you have to make sure that you don't ever do it again. So if you did something out of your normal behavior and you never came to this part where you didn't, if you read this and you did this and it was intentional, then that's your behind. That's it. If you had read something like we just read, if you read this before, this is important for you doing your Torah portion. If anyone does something wrong intentionally and you did it anyway, and this was on your mind and you intentionally still did it, then that's your behind. If you did it and you forgot and you just out of habit, you usually do something you've always been doing all your life and you just made a mistake and did it, then the Most High, he says that for that one, you did it unintentionally. The Most High knows your attitude. He knows your mind. But if you have anything in you that is definitely reviling against or disrespectful and you don't care and you're hostile towards the Most High, you show any hostility towards him on purpose, then that's your behind. That's just what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. That's your behind. Because the law here states that anyone who does this is blaspheming the Most High. And that's not whether you're in the land, because this individual is in the wilderness. So what it is what I'm saying is we have to be responsible for the things that we're reading. So you just can't, this is the reason why you shouldn't just be running through the Torah, reading, fast and, oh, I did my Torah portion. I just read it and yeah. Okay. An individual. Okay. Boom. I got it down. I read my Torah portion. No, you better sit back and read it and take your time and go through it and take some notes, because you're going to be accountable for what you've been told. Okay. So that's my 2 cents on that. Now, there was a question or a couple of questions have been asked about what kind of, what should we be praying for? What should we be doing while we're in our exile? What kind of prayer should we have? I would say this to you. The prayer that you and I need to have towards the Most High is the prayer that is found in the book of Daniel, chapter number 9, and the prayer that is found in the book of Nehemiah, chapter number 9, the prayer that is found in the book of Ezra, chapter number 9. Okay, so those are all 9s, okay? And it's also a prayer that's found in First Kings, chapter number 8, verse number 46. And the prayer is this simple. We have sinned and we have acted, and our attitude and our behavior has been wicked, like our ancestors, and we didn't listen to you. That should be your prayer, period. You don't need to add, you don't need to subtract. If you want to praise the Most High, then you praise him according to what the praises that have been written and that will be acceptable to the Most High. You can ride on the piggyback on Daweed, saying, blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of ungodly. Those things. Those are the things that can be safe, so we won't be offensive to the Most High. Because there's some things that we can say to the Most High that you and I would be completely unaware of that just won't be accepted. And what I'm saying is we need to go back to our roots, and we need to go back to what has been spoken and what has been approved and what has been accepted by the Most High. And you can reference the prayers that were of David. You can reference the prayers that were of, some of the sons of Korach. You can Asaph. You can reference those prayers. There was something that was found in Psalms 137 that they were asked to sing praises to the Most High in a foreign soil. And they said, what do we look like praising Yahweh in foreign soil? You can take that right there and say, well, scratch any praises, any songs to the Most High, but you got to look at the context. You can praise the Most High, you can, but we got to make sure that we're doing it according to the way that has been outlined, okay, in the Torah and in the Tanakh, the Psalms. You do not want to create your own thing. And I know that's disturbing to us because you think that as an individual, you have the right to do so. But I would tell you this, as being part of a nation of Israel, all of our prayers have been, I would say, quantified and qualified by the individuals who wrote them. So you would know that they're sacred and that they are exclusively from the family of the Levi'im. So those prayers can be trusted. Those songs can be trusted. Those are the things we need to focus on. So don't try to recreate something new. You can use what already exists, and that would be safe. Okay. If you have any needs for the Most High, He knows your needs. So scratch the idea of the New Testament. Go to Him and tell Him what you want. That's off the table. We're not going to open our mouth to tell Him about anything about that we are in control of. You're not going to ask Him what to do about your family. That's your family. You do what you need to do with your family. Don't ask Him to do about what's your job. That is your job. You do your job. Don't include Yahweh on the things that are contaminated, that are impure, that have been not set aside. We don't want to offer Yahweh anything that has not been set aside and that has not been kadosh, because He is kadosh, and we're going to honor that. We're not going to go as far as the Jewish community where it talks about, hey, we don't even mention His name. We call Him something else. No, we're going to call Him by His name. His name is not Asher Aye Asher Aye. That's not His name. His name is Yohe. Some people call Him Yahuwah. Some people call Him Yahweh. Some people call Him Yahweh. Some people call Him Yahweh. Call Him what you feel like you should call Him. But one thing you want to make sure that you do is you don't call upon that name if you're not living the way that He told you. You don't want to carry that name and hold it in contempt. You don't want to count it as emptiness, meaning you better be very, very careful when you're having a conversation about the Most High, and especially in your life. Okay. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you, because I'll be getting a lot of questions about that. So that's your example. He was intentional, and he deserves to get what he got, which is he was unalived. Okay. So next week, this is your Torah portion, Bamidbar, chapter number 16, verse number 1 through chapter number 18, 32. Okay. Haftarah is 1 Samuel, chapter number 11. And you can see it goes all the way to chapter number 12. And then, of course, you're going to meditate on Tehillim, chapter number 18 through 54. Okay. And their delight is in Yahweh's Torah. And on His Torah, they meditate. Meaning they're gnawing on it day and night like a bone. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Right. I'm happy that you are all here to hear the words of the living Elohim and which He has stated. And I'm happy that the Most High has designated us as His people, and He's bringing us back to Him. And you are from a royal house, right? The whole entire family is royal. It's not just the house of David that's royal. It's the whole entire house is royal. Not the Leviims, they're royal, but the whole house of Israel is royal. They're a royal family, okay? Because they're the only family that the Most High knows. So we want to line our lives up with royal mentality. That's what we want. We want royal mentality, period. So we're going to be charitable. We're going to be courageous. We're going to show some confidence. We're going to be inspiring. We're going to do all those things. And then those who don't know the Most High and you're coming to know Him, you need to start using some common sense. You do. You need to have some consideration about what's been said. And then you're going to grow from there. Okay. Anyone have any questions before I go into the cahoots that Rivka has? Anyone who wants to make a contribution? No questions. I see I got my boy on here. Jay, is that you, Jay Mixon? Is that you? Mixon, is that you? Anyway,